and let's build the community together. Until then, we'll catch you in the next one. Hello, Cubs fans, and welcome to the channel. This is the Average Fan channel, taking on the average perspective for Chicago sports. These are the Cubs videos where we have game breakdowns, we have roster moves, we give our opinions on what we see. We aren't overly analytical here, but we just talk about what we see, what we like, and what we don't like. If you enjoy the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with your friends, and let's build the community together. Until then, we'll catch you in the next one. Hello, Cubs fans, and welcome to the channel. This is the Average Fan channel, taking on the average perspective for Chicago sports. These are the Cubs videos where we have game breakdowns, we have roster moves, we give our opinions on what we see. We aren't overly analytical here, but we just talk about what we see, what we like, and what we don't like. If you enjoy the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with your friends, and let's build the community together. Until then, we'll catch you in the next one. Good evening, Cubs fans. Good evening, good evening. It's AJ, your average fan here. I hope you guys had a very good weekend. I hope you all enjoyed your Memorial Day, being safe out there. Busy weekend, both in my life over here and in Cubs land, 100%. I did not make it to do post-game shows this weekend. My brother-in-law graduated high school, went to that. My uncle-in-law moved, helped him with that. And then I buffed my car, needed to get some scratch out of it. So yeah, busy weekend. So we got a whole weekend's worth of baseball to catch up on. We are going to do that here this evening. Before we go into the games, I would like to speak on Ian Happ and if he is 100% and should be back in the lineup. He looks to be struggling quite a bit in the leadoff spot. He did get a hit today, but it looks like he is not very comfortable being in that leadoff spot just yet. Could it just be that his timing is that far off? Yes. Realistically, in my personal opinion, I would have preferred that Ian Happ gone on a rehab assignment just to kind of help him get back up to speed before joining back up with the major league team. However, we all know that you don't necessarily want PCA in your leadoff spot long term, especially with the way that he's hitting the ball. You would prefer to put him in RBI situations. So that makes a lot of sense to me. But I just don't think that Ian Happ quite looks comfortable yet. I don't think that it's necessarily injury related. I just don't think he's 100% there in terms of bat speed and his eye at the plate. I just think that, a small rehab stint, or yeah, a small rehab stint, maybe 2 or 3 games with Iowa, just to kind of help him get back up to speed, probably would have been a good idea. So you let me know down in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think that Ian Happ will be okay? I think that he will, just given time, although with the way that the rest of this offense is hitting, maybe move him down out of the lead up spot for a little while just till he gets, back into shape at the plate and then put him back into the leadoff spot. Seems like would be a pretty safe bet. But I'm not the manager and the Cubs keep hitting. We saw that all weekend long. So with that, we will get into some game breakdowns here. Like I said, it was an excellent weekend for the Cubs, including today's game 3-1 on the extended weekend with the holiday. The Cubs just doing their thing, really. They're just moving the next guy over. Your power hitters are hitting for power. There's just a lot of good things going on with the Cubs lineup right now. It doesn't matter who is pitching, who's giving up runs. The offense just seems to have all of the pitchers' backs right now, which is excellent. I love to see it. The Cubs are putting up better numbers now than they did in their 2016 season. I think that this team kind of blows the 2016 team out of the water, minus, their bullpen. I do think if they had some better bullpen help, maybe then the Cubs could definitely be in a better spot. I definitely think that they could be, more than 12 games over 500. I think that they could be somewhere around, the 14 to 16 loss range if they had a little bit of a better bullpen. Because, I mean, you can't win them all for sure, but some of those games, could be a little bit better with a better bullpen, in my opinion. So we will get down to it. We will look at Friday's game against Cincinnati. Cubs blew them up late innings, 13 to 6, just astronomically insane. This was when PCA, he had hit a two-run homer, and then the Reds had been leading most of the day, and then PCA crushes a grand slam off the right field foul pole. I mean, that ball was absolutely smacked. The Cubs' win probability went from 34% to 81% when PCA hit that grand slam. I mean, PCA is just doing everything right. This was PCA's game. PCA 6, Reds 6, and then, everybody else just kind of sprinkled in there late in the game, especially once they threw out a positional player to do some pitching. Um, but yeah, I mean, it just absolutely insane. In the top of the fourth, PCA hits that two-run homer. Um, Kyle Tucker singled, and Nico Horner and Matt Shaw both scored. And then Suzuki singled. Kyle Tucker, or I'm sorry, Ian Happ. Nope, that's not a scoring play. Why am I looking at it this way? Scoring plays. There we go. So yeah, PCA's two-run homer, Kyle Tucker two-run single. Down further in the game in the seventh, you know, after the umpire review, it was ruled a grand slam for PCA. Seiya Suzuki hit a three-run homer to put the Cubs up 11, and then Dansby Swanson hit a two-run homer, putting the Cubs up 13 to 6. Absolutely awesome stuff uh, for the Cubs offense there. And also Matt Shaw made some pretty great plays over that third, and he did it all weekend, really. I mean, him coming back from the IL, or not the IL, I'm sorry, coming back from AAA, has been very, very refreshing because it was a revolving door over at third base. It looks like that his defense has gotten better. He's definitely gotten better at the plate, which we will definitely go over here. We'll talk about Matt Shaw in a separate segment, but I do have to mention that it has been pleasantly surprising, him coming back. So yeah, if you look at the hitters on Friday, Ian Happ 1 for 4 with a walk and 3 strikeouts. Kyle Tucker 1 for 5, 2 RBIs. Suzuki 3 for 5, 3 RBIs. PCA 3 for 5, 6 RBIs. We come down a little bit further here. Dansby Swanson 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs. If you want to look at the totals, 41 at bats, 13 runs on 13 hits, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts. Keeping that strikeout number in the single digits is very, very inducive of the Cubs producing a lot of runs. Usually, if they stay within that single digit range, they typically put up pretty decent numbers, if I do say so myself. You want to look at the pitching. I mean, the pitching did all right. They got the job done. Not the best day. Boyd finally had one of those starts where he just couldn't quite, labor through to 6 innings like we have seen him do a bunch in the past. I have no doubt that this will not be a thing that continues. I feel like he'll just bounce right back. But Boyd goes 4 innings pitched, 8 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Merriweather, 2/3 of an innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk. But then you look down the rest of the board from there on out. Flexen, Keller, Pomerantz, Presley. Flexen went an inning and a third, but Keller, Pomerantz, Presley all went 1 inning, not allowing a run to score. So, in the 9 innings, he had 13 hits, 6 runs, 5 walks, and 6 strikeouts. It's very nice to see that everybody's just being consistent on the pitching side because that was obviously the biggest thing that we had to worry about in the beginning of the year with the bullpen. And then it became a problem when Steele went down for the whole year, and then Imanaga went on the IL, and he is taking a little while to bounce back from uh, from his injury. We're looking at, mid-June at the earliest for his return now. So, with that being a thing, you're leaning on Boyd and Colin Ray a lot right now, and they are really just outperforming expectations. It seems like every game they're going at least six. So for Boyd to not be able to turn six on this Friday, I'm not too worried about it. Like I said, I think that he'll bounce back just fine. No big deal there. So again, your Friday game, Cubs blow up the Cincinnati Reds 13-6. You move into Saturday's game, a little bit of a flipped script. The Cubs bats definitely held quiet there until the eighth or the seventh inning, but didn't quite have enough in the tank to get the rebound win there. They dropped the game 6-4 with Happ going 1 for 5, Tucker 2 for 5. Suzuki 1 for 3, Swanson 0 for 3, PCA 0 for 3, Horner 1 for 4, Maya 0 for 2, Kelly 2 for 2, and also, Amaya did leave the game with an oblique strain. He is going on the IL. That's another problem that the Cubs now have to face. But we will talk about the caveat to that in the third game of this series. But again, Kelly 2 for 2, excellent work. Turner got his first home run as a Cub, going 1 for 3. Awesome stuff for Justin Turner. Like I said, I know that he struggled a lot in the beginning of the year, but he had really started turning things up the last couple of weeks, especially in high leverage bat situations. I didn't realize how valuable he was with runners on, but it turns out that he is a very valuable guy to have with men on second and third for sure. Bush went 0 for 1, and then Shaw 3 for 4 in Saturday's game. So if you look at the line totals, 35 at bats, 4 runs on 11 hits, uh, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Definitely a pitcher's day for the Reds on Saturday. If you look at the pitching, it was honestly it was not too bad for them putting up six on the board. It did not look as bad as the score shows. Colin Ray went 5 innings. He got all six earned runs there, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, 1 home run. Good strikeout number for Colin Ray. Just got hit around a little bit. Again, with the same thing for Colin Ray, I don't think that this is a thing that will, last. I think that he'll bounce right back after this type of a game. Just he's been pitching so good for us. Gets his first loss, unfortunately. But then Brazier goes an inning. Krisky goes 2 innings, neither of them allowing a run. So if you look at the line totals, 8 innings pitched, 9 hits, 6 runs, 5 walks, 10 strikeouts. A very good stat line for the pitching had the offense been able to mound that comeback. But again, very, very similar to the Matthew Boyd game. Colin Ray was kind of due for one, so I'm not that mad that he finally got hit. Do I not like it against a division rival? Yeah, sure. We would all love to sweep Cincinnati for sure. Uh, but all things considered, just Cincinnati got the hits on Saturday. So nothing really too much to worry about. Like I said, I think that Colin Ray, just like Boyd, will bounce back, no problem. We roll into Sunday's game now. Cubs win 11-8. Um, yeah, this game was absolutely crazy when it came down to the later stages of the game. I mean, the seventh, eighth, and or the sixth, seventh, and eighth inning, the Cubs putting up 1, 3, and 4 runs. Just absolutely crazy. We'll talk about the scoring moments first before we go over everybody's stat lines for the day. But PCA singled that allowed Kyle Tucker and Seiya Suzuki to score, so the Cubs jump up to a 2-0 lead very early. Cincinnati then ties it in the bottom of the first. They take the lead, uh, 2-4, and then in the top of the second, Reese McGuire, who had his contract selected um, with Amaya going on the IL, Reese McGuire has his contract selected, and boy, oh boy, did he make an impact immediately. The top of the second, he homered, so that brought the Cubs within one. Ellie De La Cruz does some damage, same with Austin Hayes. So in the Bottom of the fifth, the Reds were up 7-3, or I'm sorry, 8-3. Um, and then you go to the top of the sixth, there was a wild pitch. Nico Horner scored there. And then in the top of the seventh, Nico Horner doubled. Dansby Swanson and PCA scored, so that brings the Cubs to within two. It makes it 6-8. Then Michael Bush singles. Nico Horner scored. That brought him to within one, 7-8. Reese McGuire homered for the second time of the day, putting the Cubs tied 8-8. And then in the top of the eighth at the tail end, Seiya Suzuki a three-run home run to put the Cubs up 11-8. That being your final score for the day. This goes to show how much the Cubs offense fights. They don't quit until that final out of the ninth inning. And, this offense just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going, and they just don't stop. I mean, they really just don't stop. There's a reason why they're leading the league in runs scored. And they have a very healthy runs against. I think they're up 84 over their runs allowed right now. So they're scoring at an insane clip. And to be fair, even with as rocky as the pitching has been doing, they're obviously doing their jobs to have a plus 84 run differential, which is really good stuff. Ben Brown, I kind of think I'm a little over the Ben Brown experiment a little bit. I'm excited for Imanaga to come back whenever he does. I want to see Ben Brown in the pen. I really think he could be effective in the pen, especially if you have him along with Pomerantz being able to just eat up innings when you have to have them do so. I think that Ben Brown could be that guy in the pen along with um, Pomerantz for sure, or even Brad Keller. I think the both of them. I think you put those three in the bullpen together, that could be a very dangerous trio if you need guys to eat more than, say, an inning. So if someone's got to go 2 innings, you got Brown, Pomerantz, and Keller all there. I would even throw Thielbar in there too, because he can go more than one if you have to stretch him for as much as you prefer not to. And then yeah, so Merriweather yesterday caught a DFA, which I think it was time. He just wasn't bouncing back like I thought he would. Comparatively to last year, he had a couple of bad outings last year, but then he would just bounce right back, and then he would have another solid 7 or 8 outings, and then he'd have a bad one, and then he'd kind of bounce back. He just wasn't bouncing back to getting that swing and miss. He was getting hit around a lot, so he caught the DFA, which made the room for McGuire to have his contract selected. But if you look at the pitching line, Ben Brown 4 1/3, 8 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. You look at Thielbar, 2/3 of an inning, 2 Ks. No runs. So really, outside of Ben Brown was the only one who allowed runs today. So you got Brazier, Pomerantz, Keller, and Palencia all going an inning. Um, Keller and Palencia giving up 2 hits and a hit respectively. But everybody outside of Brazier having strikeouts there. So, Pomerantz continues on his absolutely dominating streak. He's still at a 0 ERA. Keller brings his down a little bit more to a 2.49. Palencia down to a 2.04 as of yesterday. Palencia really taking advantage of this spot in the bullpen that he's kind of been forced into, with not necessarily being able to uh, not being able to necessarily trust um, Presley in the ninth, and Hodge going on the IL. So, Palencia really, really stepping up to the plate, well, I suppose the rubber, as far as taking advantage of the spot that he's been put in and really helping the Cubs defense out. He's done a phenomenal job outside of one game where he was on no rest and he got walked off against the Marlins. Outside of that, I mean, he's taken advantage of this closing situation fairly well. So, you go 2-1 against the Reds, and then we got today's game. It was definitely a struggle on both sides for both teams. The wind was blowing in a little bit. Colorado got the only home run of the day. But the Cubs playing their small ball today, and it worked. It worked to perfection. Ian Happ looking a little bit better today. A walk and a hit in 3 at bats, so no strikeouts. That's excellent. You love to see that. He also did have a hard hit ball that just didn't find grass. So that also kind of sucks. Kyle Tucker 1 for 3 today with 2 RBIs and a strikeout. Suzuki 1 for 3 today with a walk and a strikeout. Swanson 0 for 4 today with an RBI and a strikeout. Uh, PCA 0 for 4 today. Nico Horner 1 for 4 today. Turner 0 for 1. Bush 0 for 1. Shaw 0 for 1 with 2 walks. And then McGuire 0 for 2 today. So if you look at the totals, 27 at bats, um, 3 runs on 4 hits, 3 RBIs, 4 walks, 8 strikeouts. So again, keeping that strikeout number below 10 seems to be a nice magic number for the Cubs. But this offense just cannot be stopped. Kelly was out of the lineup today with some type of illness, so McGuire got the nod for the second straight day. But if you look at this lineup, outside of Ian Happ, who understandably struggling to catch up at the plate right now, but I think he's starting to get there. You have a 696 OPS. Tucker's got a 913. Suzuki's got a 910. Dansby Swanson is a 765, and he started way down at the beginning of the season. PCA 875. Nico Horner a 710 with a 293 average. Turner a 584 after starting down in like the 300s. Bush at an 812 OPS. Shaw with a 663 OPS, which most of that is coming from just him coming back from AAA. So what a turnaround from him. And McGuire, obviously, with Sunday's game, a 1429 OPS. This lineup is just dangerous everywhere you look. And so with the Cubs winning 3-1 on the weekend, that puts you 3-1 on the extended holiday weekend. I think that the Cubs are just kind of doing, everything right now, and the bullpen is looking a lot better. I think uh, with Palencia taking advantage of this closer spot. I mean, everything's just coming together. Again, today, Tyone, 6 1/3, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts. And that was off of the, excuse me, only home run on the day. Thielbar, 2/3. Presley, 2/3. Pomerantz, a third. God, excuse me. Palencia, a full inning with 2 strikeouts to end the game. This lineup is just dominating everybody, and the pitching is taking care of business. Even when your starter or one of your relievers gives up a bunch of runs, you have enough pitching there to get you to the end of the game. And that's one thing that the Cubs need right now until we get a little closer to the trade deadline to be able to really address this pitching conundrum that we're in. Because, you know, Steele might not do that great next year coming off of Tommy John. You would love for him to, but I mean, you just never know. And then with the bullpen, excuse me, Jesus, with the bullpens these days are kind of always a revolving door of guys, and I think that kind of goes for every team. So for the Cubs, your arms are just good enough to get you there. You need to make it to the deadline so that you could get the actual arms that will make a difference if you're legitimately pushing for a playoff spot, which I definitely think you are with the way that this lineup is producing. Because even when they're down and they're not producing, I mean, they're still making games extremely close. They're not getting blown out. And to be fair, those days that God, excuse me, I am so sorry. Uh, those days where your lineup's not producing, those are the days where more or less your pitching really shines and they keep it like a 1 or a 2 run game. So you're not getting completely blown out of the water. Um, again, and I mean, the Cubs have scored north of 10 runs so many times this year already. And I mean, like I said, their offense is just something to really reckon with. I mean, they will just they just come in like a wrecking ball for any pitching group that is in the MLB right now, and it's just insane at the clip that they're doing it. I mean, you got PCA will carry the team, then Dansby Swanson was carrying the team. Um, Carson Kelly did it, and You got these. It's like a nice solid revolving door of who's really putting the offense over the top. You don't have all of your guys producing at once and then all of them not producing altogether. You have this solid revolving door of one guy setting apart the entire lineup, and it's just one day after the other. Um, so if you really want to look at it that way, I mean that's what it is that the offense has one guy pretty much at all times that's always producing. It might not be the same guy, but you have one guy that is really just pushing that offense over everybody else. So with that, we'll take a quick look at Saturday's matchup or I'm sorry, Tuesdays and Wednesdays matchup against the Rockies. You got Marquez going up against Horton. I'm really excited for this one because Horton's been pitching fairly well, and now he is going to make his second start at home. Marquez has been a struggling pitcher with a 7.66 ERA, so tomorrow should be a very good day for the Cubs offense. I really do hope so. And then Wednesday, we got Boyd going against Gordon. Boyd at 4-2 with a 3.42 ERA. Gordon's 1-1 with a 4.38 ERA. So again, I think that Boyd will just bounce back after the start where he didn't quite stretch it 6 innings. But I think that Boyd will have a very nice comeback game here, especially being at home. Boyd is just objectively a little bit better at Wrigley. I think that a lot of our pitchers have been better at home versus on the road, and our at home record is definitely starting to show it. And to close out today's episode, we are going to just briefly skim over the standings here. With St. Louis losing today, the Cubs reclaim a three-game lead, a 33-21 record. Then you got St. Louis at 30-24, Cincinnati at 27-28, tied with Milwaukee, who is also 27-28. Pittsburgh is 19-35, and then if you look at the NL, Phillies lead that 34-19, a game and a half up on the Mets. The LA Dodgers head their division at 32-21. They're a game and a half over San Francisco. If you look at the AL, in the East, the Yankees 32-20 doing their thing. They're 6 games up above Tampa Bay, so they've kind of taken a pretty healthy lead in that division. The AL Central, Detroit and MLB Best 35-20, 4.5 over Cleveland. They're kind of starting to walk away with their division. Then the AL West is just wide open. It is 7 games to the bottom of their division, with Seattle heading it 29-23. So with that, today the Cubs 3-1 win puts them back to 3 games over St. Louis with their loss. Your Chicago Cubs 33-21. They keep doing the thing. Every single day in this lineup, someone puts the offense over the top to help them win. And the pitching right now is just steady. It's not great. It's not bad. It is just steady. So that is the keys for the Cubs right now. But you guys let me know what you feel about the Cubs down below, and we will catch you guys in the next one.